When you're getting into any M&A deal, the non-disclosure agreement, the NDA, is usually the very first document that hits your desk. And a lot of people see it as just a formality, some paperwork to get out of the way. And that, right there, is a huge mistake. Today, we're going to do a deep forensic analysis of the NDA, and we're treating it not as paperwork, but as what it really is, the first strategic battleground of any deal.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about why this first negotiation is so incredibly high stakes. Then, we'll dive in and decode the hidden traps that buyers love to set. After that, we'll build up your defensive playbook, talk about how to handle the tricky world of required disclosures, and then we'll wrap it all up with a simple checklist to protect your company.
So let's jump right in. Look, the NDA isn't just a warm-up for the real deal. It actually sets the tone, it establishes the rules of engagement, and it defines the balance of power for every single thing that comes after it.
This right here, this is the big misconception we have to tear down. If you treat this document like a simple administrative checkbox, you are opening yourself up to some serious and often irreversible risk.
It really is like a chess match. A small, seemingly innocent move at the very beginning can put you in checkmate before the game is even really started. The terms you agree to right here in this document can compromise your intellectual property, they can weaken your negotiating position, and ultimately, they can absolutely tank the value of your company. That's why being extremely cautious with the NDA isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain and really look at the specific traps that savvy buyers will try to embed in their NDAs. And you got to understand, these aren't typos or accidents. They are very deliberate, strategic moves designed to give them an advantage over you. Let's start with what I think is the most dangerous trap of all, the Residuals Clause. It sounds kind of harmless, right? But it is a contractual Trojan horse. Think of it this way. The clause basically says that if someone on the buyer's team can remember your secret sauce without writing it down, well, they're free to use it. It's a loophole big enough to drive a truck through. This is it. This is the exact phrase you need to be looking for. And when you find it, you strike it out. Unaided memory. That little phrase creates what we call the residuals loophole. It's basically an attempt to legalize the theft of your most valuable secrets, your strategies, your code, your customer lists, as long as they don't leave a paper trail. And the result is just devastating. A residuals clause can make the entire NDA pretty much useless for protecting your core IP. Because once your trade secrets are in someone's unaided memory, how are you going to prove a breach? How do you stop them from using that knowledge? It's almost impossible. Now, here's another sneaky but critical trap: how the agreement defines who a representative is. On the left, you see what the buyer wants, a really narrow definition that only covers their direct employees. This means they can share your confidential data with their private equity backers or their bankers, and those people are not bound by the NDA. On the right, that's your shield, a broad definition that makes sure every single person who sees your data is legally on the hook to protect it. Okay, so if you're in a competitive auction, especially with private equity firms bidding, you absolutely need a strong no-clubbing provision. Without it, these potential buyers can just team up behind your back. They all get your data, they agree not to bid against each other, and then they come in with a single coordinated lowball offer. And just like that, all your leverage is gone and your sale price collapses. A standstill provision is like setting the ground rules for the negotiation. It basically forces the buyer to negotiate with you, with the board, at the table. It stops them from trying to sneak around and make a hostile offer directly to your shareholders, and it prevents them from quietly buying up your stock on the open market to gain leverage against you. Now, you are going to get a lot of pushback on this, especially from big, powerful, market-leading buyers. They hate standstill provisions, and they hate them for one simple reason: because they work. They want to keep all of their options open, including that nuclear option of a hostile takeover. Honestly, standing your ground on this clause is a real test of a seller's backbone. Okay, we've seen the traps. Enough of the scary stuff. Let's pivot and talk about the solutions. This is all about the non-negotiable clauses that you, as the seller, have to insist on to build a fortress around your legal and strategic position. These are the three pillars of your defense. First up, non-solicitation. This stops a potential buyer from using the due diligence process as a recruiting fair for your best employees or sales pitch to your top customers. Second, choice of law. This makes sure that if you do end up in a fight, it happens on your home turf, under laws that are favorable to you. And third, injunctive relief. Think of this one as your emergency brake. And this is why injunctive relief is just so critical. Look, if your confidential information is leaking out, you can't afford to wait months or years for a court case. By then, the damage is done, the horse has left the barn. This clause gives you the right to run to a judge and get an immediate order to stop the leak. It is all about stopping the bleeding, right now.
Now, of course, no NDA can promise 100% secrecy. There are always situations where a buyer might be legally forced to disclose your info. We call these the necessary carve-outs. The key isn't to try and prevent them. You can't. It's to manage the risk that they create.
For example, a court could hit the buyer with a subpoena for documents about the deal, or a regulator could demand information. Any good NDA has to account for these legally required disclosures.
So this is the million-dollar question, right? Just because a disclosure is required by law doesn't mean you should be left in the dark and totally powerless. There's a specific mechanism that you have to negotiate into this agreement to protect your interests. And here's the solution. You have to negotiate a notice and protective order clause. This makes it a contractual obligation for the buyer to give you written notice before they hand over your data. That advance warning is everything. It gives you time to get involved, go to the court yourself, and argue for a protective order to limit the disclosure or get it sealed. It keeps you in the driver's seat.
Okay, we have covered a lot of pretty technical ground, so let's boil this all down into a simple, actionable framework that you can use every single time you look at one of these documents.
Think of this checklist as your battle plan. On the left, in the red zone, these are the buyer traps you need to hunt down and delete on site. That residuals clause, that's your #1 target. And on the right, in the blue zone, these are your non-negotiable shields. You have to defend these clauses, like non-solicitation and injunctive relief at all costs. This is your playbook.
Getting the NDA right is a huge victory, but remember, it is only the first battle. All of these strategies, the traps, the need to be vigilant, it all continues right into the next phase of the deal, the letter of intent. And well, that's a deep dive for another day.